Blog Talk Radio.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish and I'm the host of this particular program on the Divas That Care network. I'm so happy that each and every one of you has tuned in for today's program. We're really excited. We're actually going to be welcoming back one of our young divas that was on our program, oh my goodness, probably about almost a year ago. And she's got some amazing things that she's been doing, some great things that, I was going to say more amazing things that she has been doing because, you know, her story she shared with us earlier is extraordinary. And I just want to let all of you know that I'm just beyond excited. This young diva has put her story into an anthology that we did about young divas in the world. And her story is extraordinary, and we're just beyond honored that she has shared it with you. So that story is going to be coming out in January, and we'll be sharing more about those details in later episodes. So make sure that you check that out. And because all of our proceeds for those books are going to be going to different charities around the world. So we hope that all of you go out and purchase one of those books. So let's get started. For any of you that have just tuned in for the very first time, the Divas That Care has been going now for almost 10 years. 2020 will be our 10 years that we've been doing interviews with amazing women that are changing the world. And we're just so excited about that. And our new platform will actually host 20 hosts for our program. So I hope that you check them out at divasthatcare.com. Well, today, as I said, I'm really excited to be welcoming back our young diva. Her name is Zoya, and her last name is Sarani. And I'm just so excited to have you. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for a wonderful welcome. It's truly an honor to be on this network and a part of the broader network of the Divas That Care, which are absolutely inspirational, even as I read the stories and listen to the stories, and to know that I am one of the stories is absolutely incredible.
Oh, thank you so much. And we always love having you on here. And, you know, I know that I had briefly mentioned in 2020 we want to have you back because we want to have a virtual summit with a lot of our young divas, and so that you, as the listeners, can get to know them and, you know, be inspired by them, by what they're going to be sharing with all of you. So I can't wait to hopefully have you on that, Zoya, and so that you can inspire all of our amazing tribe of listeners out there.
Definitely. That sounds extremely incredible. I'd love to be a part of that.
Awesome. Well, for any of our listeners that have just tuned in for the very first time, Zoya, could you share a little bit about your story, a little bit about your background, and then we'll kind of dive in for today's program.
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Zoya Sarani, and I'm currently a sophomore at Harvard University, and I'm hoping to pursue a bachelor's in neuroscience. And at Harvard, we have different tracks for neuroscience, so I'm hoping to do the mind, brain, and behavior track, which is more of like a cognitive psych perspective of neuroscience, and also get a minor in educational studies. And so it might seem a little weird to combine neuroscience and education, which is what a lot of people have a lot of questions about. But I think the two go really well hand in hand together because you can really use both to understand the biological, psychological, and educational explanations related to child development. And so I've been interested in child development since a really young age. I absolutely love kids. I hope to go into neonatology, which is like a baby specialist for premature babies and babies with birth defects. But one of the reasons I'm so fascinated by education and how like you can use education to study childhood development is because in 2010 there was a Men's Health article that named my city, my hometown, Corpus Christi, Texas, as the fattest city in America. And so as a 10-year-old, you love your city, you have a ton of city pride, but then it's named the fattest city in America, and you're just like, that's not what I know. That's not what people should know this city by. And so my sisters and I were kind of a little like disappointed by this headline. So what we did was we did a lot of research. My parents helped us out, and we began realizing that the obesity rates right now are skyrocketing. There's around 40% of adults in the U.S. are obese, and there are over 100 million people in the U.S. that have diabetes. And the two go really hand in hand together, obesity and type 2 diabetes. And these weren't just statistics on a page. They were characteristics of the people around me. So my dad is obese. My uncle has type 1 diabetes. Some of my friends are pre-diabetic. So it was kind of like we couldn't just leave them as headlines. We had to do something about them because they were impacting us. So my sisters and I co-founded a nonprofit, which we named iConquer, and it sought to educate children ages 3 to 7-year-olds about obesity, diabetes, nutrition. We expanded this to hygiene. And so what we did was we created puppet shows. We wrote the script and voiced animated movies that we had an animator create. We made dance routines. I wrote the lyrics to some songs because I really like poetry, so that was like a way to use what I knew and implement it in the curriculum. We also created Banunu, who is a yellow-green monkey bear mascot that I love being in because you get excitement from the kids, but hate being in because it's really, really sweaty. And if y'all have ever been a mascot, it's definitely super fun and really a really great experience. And so today we've reached over 15,000 children in the community and been recognized by many organizations from our city. They even created an iConquer Day. We've been recognized by Hometown Heroes, Citgo, Disney YSA, Prudential. A Canadian senator also reached out to us, which is really cool. And it's kind of nice because we see our project and the potential for it to grow in different places. And so it's really cool that what started as just a headline turned into an educational movement. And then a couple of years ago, my older sister, she went inconclusively deaf in her right ear. So my older sister is only 16 months older than me. So that was really tough just because you don't realize what happens to an individual when they lose some hearing and how easy it is to like cater towards their needs. So in class we'd watch a video and she wouldn't be able to hear it well because there were so many noises. So the teachers she would ask for them to turn the subtitles on. So it was just as easy as turning the subtitles on in our curriculum to the kids that we weren't reaching because we hadn't catered iConquer's curriculum towards students with special needs. So what we did was that we found an ASL interpreter, and she was willing to interpret all of our movies for us. So we had ASL translations in the corner. I converted the first film into a storybook format, which we later converted into Braille. And so what we wanted to do was that we wanted to create a curriculum that encompassed all the children in our community. We also converted the movies into Spanish because that's often a very common first language in a lot of our households. And so we wanted to make sure that our curriculum encompassed all children because it's this age range, 3 to 7, where they can create habits. And we wanted to create healthy habits. But in order to make sure we did that with all the children, we wanted to start at this age because they're like sponges. They absorb everything. And so we wanted them to absorb the right information so later in life they wouldn't have these issues. So it was really fun. It was really incredible. We're still in awe of how big it's gotten, but we're really, really excited for all the future holds for it.
Well, you know what? I'm in awe of you. And, that's exactly why I was like, she is such a young diva, and it's just amazing when I listen to this story because just to think that you and your sisters have done this. And I love that story in itself, that you did this with your siblings. And I always think when you work together with somebody else, amazing things can happen. And you did this at such a young age, and you did it together. And you know what? I just want to applaud you and your entire family for what you really accomplished and inspiring your entire community.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I couldn't have done anything without them. They're also really, really cool people. So, yes, it was definitely a team effort. There's no I in teamwork, and teamwork makes the dream work. So everything I've done has been with the help of my family, my community. So it's really incredible to have seen all of our work go so far.
Well, I think that will just inspire other families to do things. I always mention in our program that, my inspiration around the whole program that I started was because of my young 4 divas. I have 4 daughters that seem to do amazing things when they're together. And I always share programs like yours with them because it's like, look what you guys can do together. I'm like, you're brilliant by yourselves, but when you do things together, oh my goodness, the world is at your feet. And I think your story is absolutely inspirational and amazing because of why you're doing it and how you've really incorporated and really are reaching diverse communities. And I think that's really important because sometimes we think of one side of things, but we don't realize that maybe there's people being missed out. And what you've figured out is that you want to, and you found that the other niches that are really important for this. So thank you so much for doing that, because what an impactful age group that you are working on.
They're a really fun age group. It's definitely just like you never know what you're going to get when you go to the schools and teach them the curriculum, because sometimes you're like, oh my God, they get it. And then the next week they'll show up. And we have this jingle that's about like, it's a jingle teaching them the portion plate, like so what portions they should eat in their plate. And so we have this catchy jingle that I created. And so it's just really heartwarming because one time we taught it to them, and then the next week when they came into PE, they were singing it. And we were just like, oh my God, these are 6-year-olds that are singing our jingle to us that we taught them last week. And so you don't think stuff's going to stick, but it does. And it's really incredible when it does, because we also have like little taste testing things. So many students haven't had like a cherry tomato. And so when we introduce them to new foods, it's really incredible because they'll be hesitant at first, and then when they try it, they're going to really, really like it sometimes. And it's really incredible in even the smallest moments when you see that it's so simple, but it's so necessary. And so it's really nice that we're there in the schools and we're able to do that.
Oh, wow. Well, I have a question for you, because I know that you are now at Harvard. How are you able to keep this going? Do you have quite a few volunteers that are assisting you with this?
Yes. So when we started it, we would incorporate like our school's student council, our school's NHS, because it is a service opportunity to come into the schools with us. So we had a ton of volunteers helping us out at these events. And then I have 2 older sisters, so they left to college, and then it was on me and the other volunteers. And then when I left to college, we found new ambassadors that were willing to take it on. And what's really, really cool is that these ambassadors have expanded the scope of iConquer even further, where now we're working on tackling issues of brain health or mental health. So it's nice to see how we've kind of like incorporated more volunteers, and those volunteers also come with new and fresh ideas on how we can keep expanding the scope of iConquer to accomplish its goal in creating healthy habits mentally and physically in all of the individuals.
Oh, that is amazing. And you're not just doing this in Texas. You're actually doing this in Oklahoma and Mississippi. Is that correct?
Yes. So we've actually so there were a few articles published in the news about iConquer. And so with that, it was really nice because a lot of people reached out. And so there were some individuals from other states too that reached out and were really willing to implement this curriculum into their schools, because it's a once a week for 4 weeks curriculum that you implement. It's around an hour each time that you go, and when you implement it, you have a pre-test, a post-test. You can administer and acknowledge how much improvement you've made, which is really neat. And so with this data and with that, we were able to give them the curriculum so they could implement it in their own schools.
Oh, I love it. And you're probably wanting to expand this throughout the United States, and it looks like you might even be able to expand it into Canada.
Yes. So we had a Canadian senator by the name of Mobina Jaffer, who actually mailed us a letter where she just kind of like acknowledged all our work. She said this is so wonderful, and she's definitely willing to give us as much support as need be. So that was really, really cool. It was completely unexpected, but it was truly incredible as well.
Oh, I love that. Good for you. Okay, so how are you able to balance this with everything you're doing? And I just want to say that, yes, you're no longer at home. You're kind of at Harvard right now, but you're also doing so much at Harvard. And I want to just talk about that, because above doing your studies, you've got a lot of stuff on your plate. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
Yeah, for sure. So Harvard has a ton of different opportunities to do, which is really, really fun and really, really nice. And I've taken the time to kind of explore what I want to do, just because the curriculum, you kind of cater it towards your major, but your extracurriculars, they can be as random and fun as you want. So I've been a tour guide for the Peabody Museum of Archaeology and Ethnology, as well as a tour guide for Harvard Tours, which is a tour group entity that is really, really fun. I got to learn so many secrets about the university's architecture that I didn't know before I started, so that was really cool. I'm also a peer advising fellow, which means I have like a group of first-year students that I am able to advise and give them help. I also work with the Office of Career Services in that position, so I can cater interests or questions about future careers, summer opportunities, and also relay that information. I'm a CPR, AED, and first aid instructor, which is just really fun because I really like teaching, so this gives me an opportunity to teach it's just in a different way where I get to teach people about first aid, which is really fun. One of the coolest things I'm doing this semester is I'm actually the Make the Magic Gala coordinator for Camp Kesem. So Camp Kesem is a camp for children whose parents have cancer, and there's this gala event every year that's one of our biggest fundraisers. And so this year we're trying to raise thousands and thousands of dollars to get our kids the opportunity to go to camp for absolutely free. So it's definitely really fun. I also like to babysit, which is kind of like my de-stressor. It's really fun. There's a ton of RAs that have babies, which is really, really nice. And I just love doing anything I can. And it's just really fun to be able to do whatever you want in your own environment and kind of learn to have school but balance that with your extracurriculars as well.
Oh, my goodness, girl. You are doing so many amazing things, and it sounds like you're having a lot of fun. And I think that's what it's all about. My philosophy has always been life is too short, and, live life to the fullest each and every day. And you know what? You're definitely living life to the fullest each and every day, and I want to applaud you for that because you definitely give inspiration, not just to myself and, women my age, but, to the younger generation of girls that are looking up and wondering what they're going to do and looking for those amazing mentors and those people that are doing fantastic things and they want to live up to that. And, you're definitely doing that. And thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. It's definitely, I honestly wouldn't have expected to be in this position today. So it's definitely an advice that if you can dream it, you can achieve it. Just because I would have never thought I would have gotten here. But it is possible, and it's definitely really interesting being in classes with so many amazing people and hearing their stories and hearing how all of us are unique and we're different in our own way, but since we're doing what we love and what we care about, that's how we blend so well together because everyone's passionate, everyone's doing something good, and so it's that good that connects us all together.
Oh, I love it. Oh, Zoya, I don't want this call to end, but I want to ask you another thing. Is there anything that you could share with our young divas out there, the young listeners that are listening today, any last-minute tips, tools, things that you would love to share with them?
So one thing I'd like to say is that our iConquer program that was named for catering to individuals with special needs was called Ubuntu, and Ubuntu would be my advice. Ubuntu is a Nguni Bantu word meaning humanity, and it also means I am because we are. So there was a story where there was an anthropologist that went into this African village, and he had this big basket of trinkets, toys, food, and he said, whichever child comes to this basket first can take the basket. And so no one came. And then the anthropologist repeated that statement again, and nobody came. And then he repeated it a final time, and all the children held their hands together and came to the basket together. And so he was really confused. He was like, if I said that one child could get this, why did no one go by themselves? And they said, Ubuntu, I am because we are. And so this word shows how anything that can be done is best done when it's done together. And the same goes for giving back to the community. And so whatever we can do in this world, we have to do it together, whether that means physically working on it together like my sisters and I had, or just giving back to the community in a way where you feel Ubuntu. You feel the fact that you are what you are because of all the people around you. It's not an individual effort. And so kind of embracing the idea of community, the idea of being able to give back to the community, it's truly wonderful when you realize the power of teamwork, the power of service, and just how wonderful it feels inside when you've done something good for people around you, people you may not even know, but you know that it does impact them.
Oh, thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You know what? I always love talking to you. You really do inspire me, and you inspire the rest of the world because of what you're doing. And, thank you so much. And I can't wait to have you back on the program, part of the virtual summit, and coming back on just to be interviewed and sharing with us some other things that you're going to be doing in the future.
Yes, definitely. I'd love that so much.
Well, thank you again. And thank you to all of our amazing listeners. Make sure that you take this show and you send it to all your friends and family. Share it because it is absolutely inspirational, and especially to your young divas at home, because you know what, Zoya really does inspire us to be better people, to do amazing things, and to work together. And I really want that word to get out there as much as possible. And yes, so thank you, Zoya. Thank you to our listeners. I hope that each and every one of you has an amazing day. I know 2020 is just around the corner, so Happy New Year to each and every one of you. Make sure that 2020 is extraordinary and do some extraordinary things. Thanks again, Zoya. Thank you, our listeners. And until next time, we'll talk soon.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
so much. Bye.